Jorge Iramain. And Jorge, so he's playing another one of playing our red-green aggro decks. So we've actually been seeing a lot of red-green aggro this weekend. What I think is interesting about his deck is the creature choice. He's going very small on the red-green aggro side of things. So he has your normal Birds of Paradise, your Llanowar Elves,
as always,
your Huntmaster of the Fells,
opponent, please raise your hand.
but now he's also running 3 Skin Shifters and 2 Hero of Oxybridges.
If you're trying to find your seat, make it known.
What do you think he's trying to improve there with the Skin Shifter? What's he playing it over for first?
Well, he's shaved a lot of his numbers, so he only has a couple of numbers. Let's see, he's not playing a full set of Huntmaster of the Fells, so that's different to start with. He really just has a smattering of lots of different, it looks like a lot of different kinds of removal spells. 2 Gap Blast, 2 Incinerate, 3 Brimstone Volley, 2 Arc Trail. So he has quite a lot of burn. And among smaller creatures, he's also playing 2 Spike Shot Elder. So what he'd be cutting is he's cutting things like Metamorph. He'd be cutting like Garruk Relentless out of his deck. He's not playing Hellrider. He's definitely just on the smaller end.
He's on the creature plane.
Yeah, he's on Hero instead of Hellrider, which I was discussing a little bit earlier
50 minutes.
with Patrick.
You may begin.
Both the cards very comparable. But,
yeah. Now, do you agree with the cutting Huntmasters? I've only played a little bit of Standard recently, and I love that card.
Huntmaster is one of the best cards in a red-green deck. I don't know that I would cut one. Certainly, if you're trying to, it's not as fast. It's very mid-range, which sometimes is a dangerous place to be when a metagame polarizes. So you get your very aggro decks, your very control decks, and Huntmaster's not great against either of them. He's very good against creature decks, but he's not great at attacking, and he can't beat a Titan either. So
I was playing Pod last weekend at the SCG Invitational, and I had 3 Huntmasters. I originally had 4 Huntmasters in the deck, and I really wanted a Hellrider just so I could have that surprise burst damage, like the extra 5 points. So I ended up cutting one of the Huntmasters for the Hellrider, which I was really happy with the Hellrider, but I still kind of wanted the 4th Huntmaster. So it's such an awkward place to be in. That card is it's so good right now.
And this will be a big test for John's deck. Well, a little bit. Normally ramp is good against red-green aggro. It's a matchup you really want to see out of a ramp deck. But I said he's given him a lot of his
without the sweepers.
Without the sweepers, John he's running 2 Whip Flares. He's splashing just for 2 Whip Flares.
And the Huntmasters.
And the Huntmasters.
Right.
So otherwise it's just blue-green. So this will kind of be a test of how much he's lost.
He's even got the unsummons in there. I love it.
4 Vapor Snag, 2 unsummoned. That's kind of his. I'll put it in quotes. That's his sweeper in this matchup. All right. So Jorge.
He does have 2 Blasphemous Act in the sideboard as well. So.
Jorge starting on Birds, turn 2. He gets Geist out. Sorry, turn 3 Geist. It looks like he might be missing a land here. So Jorge's going to have to come out here pretty quick. If Titans start landing for John, the game will get really out of control for him. Not missing. So the cards he'll be looking for will be things like.
Is this turn 2 or is it?
I believe this is turn 3.
He ramped it.
Because John ramped on turn 2.
Okay, sure. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, because there wasn't a turn 1 Birds. So yeah, RK appears to be stuck a little bit on lands, which is going to be kind of troublesome for him. If John can just stick to his main game plan of making Titans, he should be able to be in pretty good control here. Now Ponder reveals land, a Huntmaster, and a blue card. Probably is a keep, unless I don't know what his land situation's at.
John's obviously had a lot of practice with this deck, so I imagine he keeps it.
Keeping the Huntmaster. And he also has it looks like he has a Whip Flare in his hand too.
Is that Evolving Wilds?
Yeah.
Okay, that works out really well.
Yeah, it's really great with Ponders, and it turns Ponder pretty much, into a small tutor.
Let's see if he draws a land. Nope, does not look like a land.
And so he's gonna have to keep pace. He does have another.
Oh,
so
he's gonna bring the beats.
He's gonna bring more Geists. Remember, so John has 1 Whip Flare, but that's not really going to. 1 Whip Flare is actually terrible, so he's going to need 2 of them, or just a Frost Titan. And if he can, next turn, if he can just land Titan, should be excellent as well.
Does he have another land in his hand? Does John have another land? I couldn't really see. He flipped it a little too fast. Gets a mountain in case he draws back-to-back Whip Flares.
Yeah, well, even so, Huntmaster here should be fine if
Yeah,
he doesn't land a Titan. Huntmaster should buy him enough time to bring him to his late game.
Now, do you agree with the Green Sun's anything for the Strangleroot Geist, or would you have tried to get some mana?
Well, Jorge's got to keep increasing pressure. Remember, if John gets to a Titan, he doesn't really have any answers in main deck to it.
Sure.
So as long as his 4-drop is something that's good on the board right now, I would keep bringing in beats. Eventually, he'll have to draw. I mean, remember, Jorge's deck doesn't need to hit 4. Its only 4-drops are 2 Huntmaster, 2 Hero. He
wants to get him low enough just to burn him out.
Right. He does have 9 pieces of burn, so he definitely doesn't need to get very high on lands to be able to get him. But John comes out with the Primeval Titan, and that's going to be hard for Jorge's, and probably have to just swing through it. So with all these colors, one question might be what all John has in the way of things to get with his Primeval Titans. He does have 2 Inkmoth Nexus, 2 Kessig Wolf Run. The kicker is he has 4 Glimmer Posts, which actually could be very relevant here. Titan blocks one of the Geists. My guess is that Jorge's going to wait and go Geist Incinerate on the swing back.
At this time. Once again, Commander Pod number 7, please come up to the public event stage.
Archtrail 2 and not sure which one's going to which, but yep, 2 and 1. Finish it off with this Galvanic Blast. Putting John to 13, I believe, because the Archtrail gets knocks 1 in there.
Archtrail only hits him for 1.
Or 11, sorry. And Whip Flare brings it really strong Whip Flare into Huntmaster, I believe. It's very strong for John. Or into another Primeval Titan.
Ooh.
Ooh.
And now he's getting his life back.
Glimmer Post up to 15. That's going to mean that the next swing should gain him 16 life.
Yeah.
Or 8 life, sorry.
That's going to be really hard for Iramain to come back with.
So I think one of the things, these sort of decks, the rise of these different kind of ramp decks really has, I think, is a testament to Primeval Titan.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of times when you first saw Primeval Titan, we saw it almost exclusively with Valakut because it was the best thing you could be doing with it. And a lot of people were wondering when Valakut left what we'd be able to do with Primeval Titan. And I think really, you know, it seems like regardless of the format, Primeval Titan is going to be excellent.
Sure. I mean, even then it was fetching out Eldrazi's.
Sure, it could get, it could be getting Eldorazzi's, it could be getting Valakuts. It was always getting some. It seems like there's always something of value for it to be getting. The effect is just too powerful.
Whenever I first started playing Magic, a friend of mine who was actually pretty decent at the time, he would always tell me, like, when a new format would come out, he'd be building a deck, and he's like, worst case scenario, I'm just going to play big creatures fast.
Yeah,
that's all you get.
It's a time-tried strategy of mana creatures and big creatures.
Yeah. And that's, I guess, Primeval Titan's just the best case scenario for that one.
2 Huntmasters. We'll put him at 27, double wolves. Just...
Uh-oh.
Oh my. John just laying
Come on, Iramain, draw Wrath of God. No.
He hasn't Incinerate, but that... It's his tanks on the board. Well,
I think we're about to go to game 2
counting
here.
damage. Yeah, probably.
Think. How can we get out of this?
Remember, both players here at 6-0. So the winner of this will be a lock for day 2. Will be a lock for day 2. 7th win gets you to day 2. And yeah, John Kassari definitely wins that one in short order.
Let's see what they bring in here. We got John's deck has Dungeon Geist on the sideboard, which seems pretty decent. Blue Sun's, that's interesting. I like that one.
Mostly for control.
Yeah, he's not gonna bring that. Just like it was an interesting card to see in the sideboard.
Yeah, this is the kind of matchup that John really wants. So he could trade his Solums for Dungeon Geists if he wanted, but at the same time, there's not that much outside of Strangleroot Geist. There's not too much for him to Dungeon Geists. He doesn't want. I mean, the mid-range threat is fine. It's better as probably a large threat. There's a couple things. You might cut 2 unsummons or 2 Dungeon Geists looking for a more permanent answer.
Sure.
He could play Blasphemous Act as well, just to actually if he wants a hard sweeper, though the red-green deck doesn't really commit usually that many creatures to the board. I think it's more for token style decks. Largely, John will stick with his main deck, I imagine.
Okay, and then in the sideboard of Iramain's deck, we have Active Aggression. Seems pretty
3 Active Aggression and 1 Acidic Slime are probably all going to come in. He actually has excellent choices. He also has 2 Mana Barbs against John. If that was John, the one thing you don't know about John's Rug deck is that it actually doesn't play any counter spells in it, despite the fact that it's blue-green. So he doesn't really have... He has 2 Naturalize in his board, which if he's really scared of a Mana Barbs, he might bring in... His deck has a very hard time winning through Mana Barbs. So that actually, to me, seems like a pretty good of a trump card for Jorge coming out of the board. He's going to have to draw it. He has 2, though. Outside of that, I don't see too much. He could play Garruk Primal Hunter, but once again, that card is still trumped by a Titan. I do think things like Galvanic Blast, Arc Trail, Spike Shot Elder will probably see all of those leave.
I guess he's not really hoping to live the dream of just killing some mana dorks with Arc Trail in this situation.
He might keep them in just out of the situation. I mean, there aren't mana creatures in John's deck, but he might keep them in just because they are 2 damage. So if he's looking for things to remove...
You're right, I was completely looking at the wrong list there.
That's fine. If he doesn't have mana creatures to kill, but it still does 2 damage, and the incidental 1 can add up. So he might actually still make the play. There are Snapcasters in John's deck, but he hasn't seen any yet, so he doesn't know that.
Right, and he's obviously not leaving them just for that.
Yeah. So outside of these 2 decks, what would you say are some of the more... You've been working at the dealer table today, right?
Sure. Yep.
What are some of the more... I mean, people probably come by with decks, cards. What are some of the more interesting things you're seeing today from that side?
Interesting or popular? Because those are very different answers.
Let's start with popular.
Popular. A lot of Phyrexian Obliterators. A lot of hype around that card. People just don't want to sell that card.
Okay.
And we sell a lot of them. Sword of War and Peace, obviously, it's always just gone. Those are always really good.
So you've been selling a lot of Obliterators, or?
I mean, we haven't had a lot to sell, but yeah, for Obliterators, and so those are always really good. As far as like interesting, I don't know. There hasn't been too. I don't do a whole lot of selling. I do more of the buying.
Okay.
I generally only sell whenever I'm like covering a break.
Sure.
So I haven't seen a whole lot of that stuff. I bought a mono white deck today that looked mediocre. Obviously didn't do very well because he sold the deck.
Okay.
But so.
All right. No, that's excellent.
Yeah. How much pod have we seen? I really like pod right now.
We had a pod. We've seen a pod deck. Brian Kibler is piloting. He's right now X1. He lost his last round.
Yeah, I was talking to him about it.
He's piloting essentially a red-green aggro deck with pod in it.
Right.
As a 2-of pod, we were talking about it's not the centerpiece of the deck, but a good value play in the deck.
Right.
We actually have seen red-green has been very, very popular today. We've seen it in each of our feature matches in some form. And that's not just, that's been indicative of the top tables. That's been really popular. The pod build is interesting. It's a Naya pod build. It's very similar still to red-green strategy. Jorge on the play is going to 6. Probably looking for something fast. He's going to need something fast, but not in that hand.
He can't afford to let John stabilize with any sort
Players,
of Titan.
if you'd like to
Well, the biggest fear is that John will make a turn 4 Titan. And so the means he has to help get around that, Strangleroot guys, Hero Boxed Ridge, Mana Barbs.
Standard open pre-registration.
He wants to get himself in a situation where 1 active aggression will win the game.
Yes. That seems like a pretty good plan.
John looks like he appears to be keeping his 7, though. Alright, and we start.
Copperline Gorge, go.
No Mana Accelerant. So hopefully you'll have a turn 2 Strangleroot here or some way to put pressure on. And he does not.
Uh-oh.
Great news for John.
Yeah, I guess he just didn't want to go to 5.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you have lands and spells, at some point you have to keep... His deck is so heavy on early drops that makes me wonder... you have to ask what he is keeping, and really how... You have to make sure that what you're keeping has a plan to get there. Perhaps he has a Mana Barbs. That would, incentivize me to keep this sort of hand even on a 6.
Sure. Does he have any 3-drops that are relevant to play here?
He has Daybreak Ranger at 3. Your best 3-drop is Zenithing for a Strangleroot Geist, probably.
Okay.
And Skin Shifter.
All right.
Which actually is a pretty decent clock. It turns into a 4. In this matchup, it was almost exclusively a 4/4.
Gain some life.
Yep, and
Huntmaster.
Huntmaster is bad, which is... Yeah, and John also, as we see in his hand, does have a Primeval Titan. He's a little, having some his mana's not less than pristine right now, so should probably still be fine. So John's going to have to answer the Huntmaster.
Sword. It's
And
not a
just
bad one.
passes the turn. But remember, Huntmaster, unlike in some matchups, in a mirror matchup, this would be a problem because Sword will eventually can trump the Huntmaster.
Pass the turn to flip the Ravager.
Yep, flip it to Ravager of the
Force him to
Fells.
pump.
Pump during the good part is it forces him to pump during his own turn.
Correct.
$10 draft number 21 and Commander Pod number 8. Please.
And he does have, he draws an Ancient Grudge, which is pretty good here, provided he can deal with the Ravager of the Fells. Grudge is good in that it gets rid of the Sphere of the Suns. Ooh,
back to the
that's
hand.
just backbreaking.
Yep.
And a lot of ways, what I really like John's Will is Vapor Snag. Vapor Snag is not very far away from a removal spell. When your deck is so tight or so fast, as in you just resolving threats like Titans.
Yeah.
You know, they've essentially
It's Time Walk.
Jorge won't have a chance to replay the Skin Shifter before while it's still relevant, and because of that, that was almost a Swords to Plowshares there.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, actually, it gained him. It made him lose a life instead of gaining him. Like,
yeah.
It's really a good spell. And John's end step, fetch for a Mountain, makes me fear that, yep, land. And
right off the top.
It's gonna, and he's got a Primeval Titan, and that's probably going to be, that's going to get him, I think. Question is, is he saying go?
I guess he just didn't want to discard the card and take a little bit of damage right here. I mean, it sounds like this where...
What card?
Say what?
So he didn't cast, he opted not to cast a Titan there?
Yeah, he's got the Snapcaster.
Okay, so he's just going to snap cast.
Yeah. If he casts Titan there, he just pitches a card, lets him take an extra turn.
Is that a Feast and Famine?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was a War Piece. Okay,
Oh,
that's much better.
Okay, yeah. It sounds like that whenever Iramain's just sitting there, he's like, please don't bounce this, please don't bounce this, please don't bounce this.
Yeah, don't.
And he's like, Vapor Snag, oh.
And Jorge, I mean, John not needing really to cast a Titan this game, actually. Should just be able to win off the Ravager.
Iramain's just taking him. I mean, his best play right here looks like Skin Shifter, right? And
or the Land War Elves. Land War Elves might give him more options next turn. He has to think, what are his ways of actually dealing with this, with just the board as is? He chooses to go with Skin Shifter.
Flip back.
Did he play 2 spells?
Yeah, he Snapcaster and Vapor Snag.
Absolutely, so he gets another guy. Yeah, it looks like that was done a little... Yeah, yep, that was awesome. So... Swings for the fences. And the worst thing, I mean, and John will probably just pass here.
Yeah. I mean, forces him to block into a pass.
Yeah.
Jason Lewis and Nick Go. Please report.
Huntmaster just seems so strong in this matchup.
Right. I mean, and this is like, he still can play Huntmaster, which still gives him game in this sort of matchup. Right. Flips it back.
Shoot.
Or he's going to turn it into something. Maybe an 08 or a 4. Probably a 4/4.
Wait. He didn't block or anything? He didn't take.
So
Jorge's
at 2 currently. Took 6 on the swing and then 2 off the activated ability. And is that
Did he take 8 on the swing because he attacked?
Yeah.
Head flip.
And that's a game. It prompts a concession. Very easy too. John Kassari's deck really interesting.
Yeah.
Wolfram Blue Deck that puts John Kassari at 7-0 into day 2.
Mm-hmm.
Remains to be seen. Still could be higher than that, but I really do like his deck.
Yeah, it seems really strong.
Yeah, it has a lot of. It has a lot of the same good matchups as Ramp does, but I think it affords you to play really in the end